The Bestseller, Ride the Escalator to Selling Excellence While Others Take the Stairs. Chapter 7, Mastering the Art of Persuasion in Sales, Tips and Techniques. Audiobook narrated by Pratik. Mastering the Art of Persuasion in Sales, Tips and Techniques. Do you want to boost your sales and close more deals? The key lies in mastering the art of persuasion. But what exactly does it take to persuade someone to buy your product or service? In this section, we'll explore powerful tips and techniques that will help you become an expert at convincing even the toughest customers to say yes. From building rapport and understanding their needs, to using persuasive language and presenting irresistible offers, we have your back. So grab a pen and paper, because by the end of this podcast, you will be equipped with all the tools you need to elevate your sales game. So let us start with introduction to the art of persuasion in sales. Sales isn't always easy. In fact, it can be quite hard. But if you learn the art of persuasion, you can make sales much easier. The art of persuasion is the ability to influence someone to do something that they wouldn't ordinarily do. Persuasion is a skill that can be used in many different situations, but it's especially useful in sales. There are a few things you need to know in order to be persuasive. First, you need to understand what motivates people. What are their needs and desires? What do they value? Second, you need to be able to communicate effectively. You need to be able to put your ideas across clearly and concisely. Third, you need to be confident. If you don't believe in what you're selling, then no one else will either. These are just a few tips to get you started on the path to becoming a master of persuasion. For more detailed advice, check out the rest of this blog post. Assessing your audience's needs. The first step to mastering the art of persuasion in sales is to assess your audience's needs. What are they looking for? What are their pain points? What would make them say yes to your offer? Once you understand what your audience wants, you can craft a persuasive sales message that speaks to their needs. To assess your audience's needs, start by segmenting them into different groups. This will help you tailor your message to each group. For example, if you're selling a new product, you might segment your audience into early adopters, tech-savvy users, and those who need convincing. From there, you can create different messages for each group. Once you understand your audience, it's time to start crafting a persuasive sales message. In general, there are 3 key components to a persuasive sales message: logic, emotion, and trust. Logic appeals to the rational side of our brain and helps us see why we should make a purchase. Emotion appeals to the emotional side of our brain and helps us feel good about making a purchase. Trust helps us feel confident that we're making a smart purchase decision. When crafting your persuasive sales message, be sure to include all 3 of these elements. Use logic to explain why your product is the best solution for your customers' needs. Appeal to their emotions by showing how your product will make their life better. Crafting your message for maximum impact. Your message is the foundation of your sales pitch, so it's important to take the time to craft it carefully for maximum impact. Here are some tips and techniques to keep in mind. 1. Keep it simple and focused. Don't try to pack too much information into your message. Instead, focus on one key point that you want to get across. 2. Make it benefit-oriented. Your message should be all about the benefits that your product or service can provide for the customer. 3. Use powerful language. Choose words that are strong and persuasive and avoid weak or wishy-washy language. 4. Appeal to emotions. Tugging at heartstrings can be an effective way to get people on board with your message. Just make sure not to go overboard. You don't want to come across as manipulative or insincere. 5. Support your claims with evidence. If you're making any bold claims in your message, be sure to back them up with facts and figures from credible sources. This will help add weight to your argument and make it more persuasive. 6. Respect your audience's time. Your message should be concise and easy to digest. Don't ramble on or waste people's time with unnecessary details. Get to the point as quickly as possible and make sure it sticks. In order to craft an effective message for maximum impact, you need to understand your audience and what they want to hear. You also need to be clear and concise in your delivery. Here are some tips to help you create an impactful message. 1. Know your audience. Understand who you're talking to and what they want to hear. What are their pain points? What are their needs? Keep these things in mind when crafting your message. 2. Be clear and concise. Don't try to cram too much information into your message. Keep it focused and to the point. 3. Use strong language. Choose words that pack a punch and will resonate with your audience. 4. Be persuasive. Use all of the tools at your disposal to make your case convincingly. This includes logic, emotion, stories, analogies, etc. 5. Test and refine your message until it's perfected. Always be willing to experiment and tweak your message until it gets the results you want. When it comes to persuasion, The ability to craft a message that resonates with your audience is key. After all, if you can't get your point across in a way that resonates, you're not going to be very successful in persuading anyone. Here are a few tips and techniques for crafting a message that will have maximum impact. 1. Keep it simple. The more complex your message, the less likely it is to resonate with your audience. When crafting your message, make sure to keep it as concise and straightforward as possible. 2. Know your audience. It's important to understand who you're trying to persuade before you can craft a message that will resonate with them. What are their needs and wants? What are their concerns? Once you know these things, you'll be better equipped to create a message that speaks directly to them. 3. Use emotion. Emotion is one of the most powerful tools in persuasion. If you can tap into the emotions of your audience, you'll be much more successful in getting them to see things your way. 4. Be convincing. In order to persuade someone, you need to be confident in what you're saying. If you don't believe in what you're trying to sell, why should they? Make sure that your message is clear and convincing, and back it up with evidence if necessary. 5. Be persistent. Persistence is often the key to success using stories and examples to build rapport. The ability to persuade is critical in sales, and one of the most important tools in your persuasive arsenal is the use of stories and examples. When used effectively, stories and examples can help you build rapport with your audience, establish trust, and make a persuasive case for your products or services. Here are some tips for using stories and examples to build rapport and persuasion in sales. 1. Use relatable characters. When selecting a story or example to share, be sure to choose one with characters that your audience can relate to. This will help them connect with the story and see themselves in the situation. 2. Make it relevant. Be sure to select a story or example that is relevant to your product or service and the needs of your audience. This will help them see how your offering can meet their needs and solve their problems. 3. Keep it brief. When sharing a story or example, be sure to keep it brief so as not to lose your audience's attention. Get straight to the point and make your argument clearly and concisely. 4. Practice beforehand. Before sharing a story or example, be sure to practice beforehand so you can deliver it effectively. Know what points you want to make and how you want to tell the story so you can engage your audience fully and persuasively, leveraging verbal cues and nonverbal communication. In order to master the art of persuasion, it is important to be able to read and understand both verbal and nonverbal cues. Verbal cues include the words that are spoken, as well as the tone, volume, and inflection of voice. Nonverbal cues include body language, eye contact, and facial expressions. Both types of cues can provide important information about what someone is thinking or feeling. They can also be used to influence someone's thoughts or emotions. For example, if you want someone to agree with you, you might use a soft, friendly tone of voice. On the other hand, if you want someone to feel scared or threatened, you might use a loud, aggressive tone of voice. Body language is another important nonverbal cue. Positive body language, such as smiling or nodding, can indicate that someone is interested in what you're saying. On the other hand, negative body language, such as crossing your arms or avoiding eye contact, can indicate that someone is not interested or does not agree with you. Eye contact is also an important nonverbal cue. Making eye contact with someone can help build trust and rapport. It can also make you appear more confident and persuasive. Facial expressions are another type of nonverbal communication that can be very telling. A person's facial expressions can reveal a lot about their inner thoughts and feelings. For example, a person who smiles while they're talking is usually indicating that they're happy or amused. Closing the sale with confidence. As a salesperson, it is your job to close the sale with confidence. This can be a daunting task, but if you follow these tips and techniques, you will be well on your way to success. First and foremost, always believe in what you are selling. If you don't believe in your product or service, how can you expect your customer to be enthusiastic and passionate about what you are offering? And let that shine through in your interactions with potential customers. Secondly, know your stuff. Be an expert on what you are selling so that you can answer any questions or concerns that a customer may have. The more knowledgeable you are, the more confidence you will project. Thirdly, be assertive without being pushy. It is important to be confident in yourself and your product or service, but there is a fine line between being assertive and being pushy. No one likes to be sold to, so find that balance between asserting yourself and giving the customer space to make their own decision. Always follow up. After the sale is complete, stay in touch with your customer and make sure they are happy with their purchase. This shows them that you care about them as a person and not just as a sale, which will go a long way in building trust and confidence between you and them. Dealing with objections and rejection. Whether you're selling a product, a service, or yourself, you're bound to face objections and rejection at some point. But don't let that stop you. With the right attitude and some helpful techniques, you can turn those objections into opportunities. Here are a few tips for dealing with objections and rejection. 1. Don't take it personally. It's not about you, it's about the other person's needs and wants. 2. Ask questions to understand the objection. What is the real issue? What are they really trying to say? 3. Address the objection head on. Don't try to sidestep it or avoid it. Be direct and honest in your response. 4. Offer a solution or alternative. If they're not interested in what you're offering, maybe they would be interested in something else. Suggest another option that might better meet their needs. 5. Thank them for their time. Even if they're not interested in what you have to offer, they took the time to listen to you and consider your proposal. That's worth something. Show your appreciation with a sincere thank you. Strategies for long-term relationships. The most important thing in any sales situation is to establish and maintain a good relationship with the customer. This is especially true for salespeople who are trying to build long-term relationships with their clients. There are a few key strategies that can help salespeople achieve this goal. 1. Get to know your customer. Take the time to learn about their needs, wants, and interests. The more you know about them, the better equipped you will be to find common ground and develop a rapport. 2. Be genuine and honest. Customers can tell when you're being sincere, so it's important to be authentic in your interactions. Be transparent about your motivations and don't try to take advantage of the relationship. 3. Communicate regularly. Keep in touch with your customers even when there's no immediate need or opportunity for a sale. This will help keep you top of mind and show that you care about the relationship even when there's no immediate transactional benefit. 4. Offer value. Always be looking for ways to add value to the relationship, whether it's through providing useful information, offering discounts, or simply being a great resource. 5. Be patient. Don't try to rush the relationship or push for a sale before the customer is ready. Establishing trust takes time, so be patient and focus on building a strong foundation for the future. The art of persuasion is an essential skill for any salesperson. With the right tips and techniques, you can become a master of this craft. By understanding your target audience, using persuasive language, building relationships with customers, telling stories to make connections with them, and presenting yourself as an expert in the field, you are sure to be successful in persuading potential customers into purchasing from you. Become a persuasive salesman today by taking advantage of these tips and techniques.